It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. Round 9 of 9 for 2021. It's MotoAmerica Superbikes at Alabama from Barber Motorsports Park. We are setting the stage for SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup race number 2 of the weekend, our final race of the year at one of the most spectacular places to come to, Barber Motorsports Park, of course with the museum, but all the great things around. I'm Greg White, sitting alongside two-time AMA champ Jason Pridmore. Jason, yeah, it's been interesting so far. We've had a rain race, our first rain race in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And to say that this class, these young riders handled it well is an understatement.
No, it really was. I mean, we watched the Superbike race yesterday, and then the Junior Cup was after that. Thankfully, the rain kind of stopped a little bit, so the track was starting to dry. We didn't see as much hydroplaning, but to be fair, all these young riders did an amazing job. You can see David Colstad here. He had the early lead. Look at him get loose out on that white paint, Greg. David Colstad, being from the Pacific Northwest, we kind of figured he'd be a guy that would be up front. We saw Gus Rodeo go down early, unfortunately, and then this really wild crash from Colstad crashes out of the lead. You'll see his frustration before he even comes to a stop. At the front, though, was Ty Scott with a championship to win. Ben Gloddy right behind him. But Kayla Yakov yesterday was really the talk of the pits. She ends up rolling her way all the way up into second and continuing that all the way to the finish line. 14 years old, gets herself on the podium, and then number 70, Ty Scott, with a well-deserved championship.
Yeah, and for Tyler Scott, obviously yesterday he clinched the championship. Yakov, our second female on the podium since Junior Cup began. And that top 4 finishers, man, it was entertaining, and especially in the wet, having confidence to make passes was spectacular. And Tyler Scott and Kayla Yakov spoke on the podium after their great race yesterday.
Yeah, coming into this race, I didn't really want to win. Well, I did want to win, but David Colstead, I knew he was fast in the rain, and if he wanted to get out front in the lead, I would. But it was a great race, and congrats to everyone.
Man, it was crazy. It was such a fun race. I did the best I can to try to go for Tyler, and he was riding great. So I knew that I had the pace in the rain because I've been here in the rain. So it's really cool. I'm just so thankful for my team, the whole Barcon Racing team, and for giving me this opportunity.
What a smile on Kayla Yakov's face. The question is, now the chains are off, who's going to win today? Gloddy wants a win.
Well, Roger, you heard him say Gloddy wants to win, Kayla Yakov wants to win. They all want a win, and they're going to have to wait a little bit because the red flag is out there. It looks like we're under a hold. You know it has to be due to the rain. Not sure what they're doing to try and correct that. But the red flag is out. And again, they're making, oh, we don't need more water poured out. You could have poured it on that side of the wall. What can you do, Roger? You can just go out there and grab something to eat like these geese are doing?
Just wait it out. I mean, that's all you can do during these situations. As a rider, you know, you just got to follow the weather. You got to make sure if your race is one of the ones later, you got to see if the track's going to dry out. But for now, you just wait and you be patient.
I don't know. Those geese are going to be twice the size as when they came into this weekend. Evidently, there's some kind of worm or something that's been coming up that's been happening in the area. Those bad boys have been mowing the entire day. Joe Lamandry, you see his pops down there. Everybody with a shot to win at this, and then we've seen it in other classes how the guy that we don't necessarily talk about near the front can be that guy or girl in the front today. And especially, let's talk about that. I don't want to give too much away for somebody that's just now joining us, but when you see somebody from the outside take that victory and you're the next class up, it almost gets you. So you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, when you see somebody else do it in the wet, it kind of gives you a little motivation. I mean, Gabriel Da Silva came from the 3rd row. You see somebody else do it before the race. So why, if he can do it, why can't I? I guess a lot of guys and even ladies in this class will tell them that. And we've seen a lot of different names this morning in the warm-up that was pretty quick too. So I'm looking forward to seeing this race, especially in the wet again. Let's see what Tyler Scott, we were thinking yesterday, maybe he had a little bit more speed, a little bit more, maybe he was cautious with the track conditions, and today he might, might let it all hang out.
It's our second day of racing here today. Let's take a look at what happened yesterday. It was an eventful day, another rainy adventure. We'll get a second dose of that here today. The guys just went through some of these just a moment ago, but David Colstad, another one of the ones to look for. I think he's going to be another guy today, but there's just showing you how quickly something can get the Snapdragon and come around on you.
Especially in the wet conditions right there. The track G's out. Rear end gets a little bit light, and David Colstad is a really good rider in the wet.
Malache Racing.
And look, he got up, got back in the race, scored some points with the top 10.
Teammate with Spencer Humphreys. David Colstad going to be one to look for, and he's kind of broken down a little bit this year. He gets up there on the boat and says, hey, ladies, going back to the hot tub after this is all over with. You can guarantee you're going to see that, and I keep bringing it up, but you just see him kind of coming out of his shell. He seemed a little more reserved at the start, and then he gets up there near the top of the box, and he's like, okay, I belong here. This is fun. I like this.
Just getting more comfortable. He's a young guy last year, or as these guys and ladies get a little bit older, they start to get to show their personality a little bit, and he's been one that's been fun to watch this year.
Rain coming down hard. The red flag is out again. We're in our television show next door. We send it over to Jason and Greg White next door.
Welcome back to Barber Motorsports Park for the SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup race number 2, our final of the season. As we are kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with the skies here at Barber Motorsports Park, because anything can happen. But Jay, I want to take a look at David Colstead, because you mentioned that he's from the Pacific Northwest, that it was full wet yesterday, and that he had a huge advantage over the field because of his experience. What did you see from Colstead yesterday?
Well, the big thing is he had a lot of confidence until this happened here, and it was a real bummer for him because we've seen him on the podium. He's still searching for that first win, and we know how bad he would like to get that. And I think yesterday was setting up pretty nicely for him. But those conditions yesterday were so hard to ride in, and he was able to pick the bike back up, as you see here, and get himself going again. But he'll be back out there again as a favorite to try to get that race win again today.
And Hannah had a chance to catch up with David Colstead and talk to him about yesterday.
Greg, in yesterday's race 1 for STG Junior Cup, we saw David Colstead get out to a really early lead, but unfortunately, you had a bit of a crash and you weren't able to maintain that lead. Tell me from your perspective about what happened out there.
Yeah, I just got too good of a drive coming up that hill and was just carrying too much speed, and I lost the rear end so quick like that. Next thing you know, I was straight up and down looking back at Tyler, and I was just thinking through my head, I can't believe that just happened after having such a great day, and I was feeling so strong, and watching those guys just go right by me, it really killed me on the inside. And then I got up and picked the bike up, and I saw everything was still intact, so I was like, all right, I'll just finish the race. And that was really all it came down to at that point, was just finish it.
So often we see riders unable to continue the race, or they just choose not to out of frustration. What gave you the mental fortitude to pick that bike up and to finish the race?
I guess somewhere deep down inside of me, I was still hoping that I was close enough to maybe I can make a great comeback, kind of like what was going on in the Superbike today. But it was just too far back, and I just did what I could with what I had after falling down.
Well, we're glad you're up and okay, and you'll have one more chance today to get back up there. Guys.
That'll be something to see if David Colstad can win the final race of the season. But let's look at Barber Motorsports Park. 17 corners and clockwise direction.
Yeah, obviously getting a good start here is important. Getting down to turn 1, up in turn 2. We've seen some incidents in turn 3 in the wet today. These bikes are still in the rain. They're going to be going up over turn 4 wide open and breaking down into turn 5 Charlotte's Web. Up over the museum curbing down there in turn 8 through turn 10 and 11 where all the fans are up on the hill. Can't believe there's that many people out there in the weather that we've had, but thanks to them. 14, 15, and 16, big long right-hander where you can start to think about setting up a pass going into 17 on your run to the flag.
A fan favorite because of the viewing area and a rider favorite. What about Jack Roach? He finished 5th yesterday. Looking to better that today. Can he get it done?
Jack Roach did have his best race, 5th, and I congratulated him yesterday watching the Mini Cup by Motul. Going to have another opportunity today. Maybe you turn that 5th place into a 3rd place. It's your last shot, and I don't know what his plans are for next year, but you want to end on a good note, Roger.
Yeah, start coming from the 3rd row. That's another guy that has to watch that previous race and have to feel like he has a pretty good chance, but he has to get a good start. And the track's going to be a little bit wetter than it was for their race yesterday.
Red flag is still waving, so they're trying to keep them there. You see Cale Essman on the 51 to that far right, Max Van, the 48. SportbikeTrackGear.com machine, the national champion. Ty Scott, KTM. I wonder if Chris Fillmore stuck around. Or you think he's staying for the awards tomorrow? put his faith into Tyler Scott, and it paid off this year with the national championship. That's pretty cool because that's basically a buy, off the showroom floor with the modification pieces you can get from KTM, and he took it to a championship.
He did, and I think also for KTM, they're gonna sell some more bikes for him. There will be more guys out here next year on the KTM, and I think that's really good for the series. They can bring their bikes here, showcase what they can do, and get some more riders some support.
Let's be honest, it's not just about MotoAmerica, but in local and club races around the country. This bike's been around for a while, but I mean, and it's been developed for a while. But we're seeing what can happen under the racing fingers of Ty Scott. I want to look back at David Colstad's crash from yesterday, and I want to point out something. We don't give our course workers enough credit, but I want you to watch what happens here. Watch David Colstad. He goes down. He talked about how that thing kind of got out from underneath him. But, when this happens, we've got to get the yellow flag out. We've got to get somebody out there to go help him. And, Roger, I want you to watch the man that comes out to help him. We darn near lost a good one yesterday, Raj.
Yeah, look at him on the left of your screen, going to be coming in.
What? Oh! We almost, I don't know, it was hamstring, quad. I just had to point that out. Thank you to the corner workers and everybody that do what you do. Come rain, come sleet, come snow, come hail. Thank you for doing what you do out there. That was our save of the day. I mean,
I don't think he saved it.
Well,
though.
if he would have got his back muddy, that would have been a definite crash. But that was our save of the day. All right, you see just how hard it is raining, Roger. I mean, if we had a red flag a little while ago because we had to maybe clear a drain or something, maybe that was the case. But if you're ever going to have a rain race, I don't know you're going to have it much rainier than this one.
No, and also yesterday's race was actually the track was drying out a little bit for them. They didn't have a dry line per se, but this is going to be a lot wetter than they were used to yesterday. It's going to be a totally different race than it was yesterday, I think, just because the track conditions are a lot different. I mean, look at those little wheels out there in all these puddles.
Look at those little wheels. 7 laps to go. So it's a 7-lap race. It was scheduled originally to be an 11-lap race. It is going to be a long race, even at this, because they just cannot turn those speeds. This is going to be who can keep it up and go the fastest. I mean, that's it. It's not just who can go the fastest and keep it up. You got to keep it up first, and then you're trying to go fast.
It's going to be who can be the patient the most. Also, if you don't get a good start and you're trying to come from the back, the spray is really hard to see. So a lot of these guys are young kids. They might not have the experience in the wet that we see in some of the other classes.
Now, sometimes fog can be an issue, and I know there's different visors and stuff. You have vents on your helmet, but when it's raining this hard, you almost don't want that vent to be open because you don't want the water to come in and get you in the face, but you might need it because we even heard other riders talking about how it was kind of getting foggy, and I'm having to adjust my angle just to see out of my helmet.
Yeah, and you'll see the Rye helmet there. It's really good. That's the helmet I used in the rain and never had any issues with fog. So Tyler Scott, I think, is going to be okay. They also that you can see the inside of that shield, that little black line.
Yep.
That's layered with the anti-fog.
And it's got like a wiper at the top of the.
And it's got that thing on the top so water can't leak down into the helmet.
Right, because usually there's a little bit of a gap or something there, and the helmet can breathe a little bit better and let out that the breath. But, yeah, with that little strip, keeping that, they will keep them dry. Now, I'm not seeing many rain suits for these younger guys. I would have the full trash bag setup right now because those things are going to weigh 5 pounds heavier, more than that maybe after this is done.
One thing about the rain suits, it can be hard to move around on the bike.
SportbikeTrackGear.com, getting ready to go now. Let's send it back to Greg next door.
Today's STG Junior Cup coverage is sponsored by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. By SportbikeTrackGear.com, the motorcycle apparel and parts specialists. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Welcome back to Barber Motorsports Park. Rain is falling, track is wet. Here's the starting grid. Tyler Scott, David Colstead, and Gus Rodeo.
Then we have LeMandry Jr., Max Van, and Benjamin Gloddy. They're on row number 2. Back to 3, we got Blake Davis. Jack Roach, good 5th place yesterday for him. Kelly Alcove, podium finisher yesterday. Hayden Beckney's Humphreys and Medina. They're on row 4. A little further back, Dreyer, Vandal, Essman, Williams, Caldwell, and Lawson on row number 6. And Alex Ricci's there on row number 7.
Warm-up lap for these riders. Not really an appropriate way to talk about it right now. There's no putting warmth in the tires, but you can see that there is water all over the racetrack as these smaller displacement and lighter Junior Cup bikes are going to get racing. Jason, huge learning curve for a lot of these racers yesterday who hadn't raced in these rain conditions. So you have to imagine that there's been a good night's sleep and rider off into the grass.
Yep. Number Spencer Humphreys, okay, just rolled off into the grass, back on track, no harm, no foul. Yeah, I think for a lot of these kids, there was a few of them out there yesterday. It was more of a survival thing. A lot of them, they were new to this. I mean, to these conditions. There's a lot of kids that have raced in the rain. You saw Kaylee yesterday talking about how she doesn't mind it. But for most, it was just getting your kind of trying to understand how the bike feels and what it's doing. But the biggest problem right now is just the standing water. There's a lot of standing water, and there's no weight to these motorcycles. So we'll see how these kids get on.
This race scheduled for 7 laps once we get around and take the grid. Now, Tyler Scott had a great run at it yesterday, Jason, without question. But David Colstead, you know, and we talk about experience with these young riders. This class, of course, designed to showcase rider talent. Not a lot of modifications allowed. Ages 14 to 28 allowed in this class only. So once you age out, you got to move on. But, Jay, there are a lot of showcase talent that are younger. 18 years and under in this class. But David Colstead, as we talked about at the top of the show, being from Washington, we have to imagine that he's got rain experience. Kayla Yakov said that she has plenty of rain experience herself. So now everybody's got it from yesterday. But Tyler Scott seems to have a little bit in reserve yesterday.
All the pressure's off now too. So after winning the championship yesterday, and yeah, I mean he had a little bit in reserve yesterday. Did the fastest lap of the race on the last lap, and yeah, the fun part for us calling this race is we see new kids come in and we see the other ones graduate that do well. And for a lot of these guys right now, they're just in that learning stage from about the third, fourth row back.
Here we are, SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup race number 2 and our final race of the season. When the lights go off, we're getting racing. Here we go. Tyler Scott off the line, but it's David Colstead who gets a really good launch, gets the power to the ground as we tip her in for the first time in turn number 1. It's going to be the Washington native Colstead who leads the way.
Yeah, he's back at the front, and you know he did get to finish that race yesterday, which was good, but boy, they're going to have to just tiptoe around here, Greg. I think the conditions are a lot worse for these kids than they were for them yesterday, so they're going to have to just tiptoe around. Same kind of thing as yesterday, though. Colstad had kind of a early breakaway like he does now. Ty Scott's going to run himself there in second place as they get down into Charlotte's Web the first time. Kayla Yakov already making her move up into third place as she goes up underneath the field there. Lamandry Jr., Ben Gloddy, Jack Roach are there. So now they're going to be exiting Charlotte's Web and head down this back straightaway.
So David Colstead on the Veloce Racing Ninja 400 is leading us into the museum section of Barber Motorsports Park. You can see the temperature, and again Colstead, who decides to take that line, he stays on the racetrack as opposed to going up and over that curbing, which is a preferred method in the drive without question. But if Colstead feels like he can get that bike left and right with no problem, he's doing it.
Yeah, right now Gloddy back there in fifth. There's Jack Roach, nice run from him. Max Van, we can see a little further back, and you can see how big the spray is, Greg. It's so hard, and you're so used to seeing these kids behind the bubbles of those motorcycles fully tucked in, and it's not going to be as important maybe today other than from visual, but that windscreen in front of them is getting so blocked anyways. You can see the rain is just absolutely teeming down out there on them, and there's virtually no lean angle for many of them as they go up through that 14, 15, 16. We got about 7 rider lead group at the moment.
David Colstead doing a great job, Hannah.
He really is, and I checked in with him this morning. He's feeling a little sore today after his crash, but he really wants redemption after leading so many laps. You know, he was hoping for the rain to pick up, and it surely has. He said in the mixed conditions, he felt he still could be strong, but this is where he really shines. He used the morning warm-up to try to settle back into a rhythm and check out the conditions, but he said he knew come race time he was going to have a lot more to give. No big changes to the bike. Overall, he just wants to be more patient today. He feels like that was his biggest mistake yesterday. So just take his time and finish the race and the season strong.
Yeah, speaking about finishing the season strong, David Colstead is only 15 points behind Gus Rodeo for 3rd overall in this championship. So Colstead trying to grab that as well.
This is the move that Kayla was pulling off yesterday. See if she's down the inside right now. Ty Scott as they head down into Charlotte's Web. But how about Joe Lamandry Jr.? He's trying to go up underneath both of them, but he makes it up underneath Kayla. Not quite close enough to get up past Ty Scott. So Joe Lamandry Jr. on the move, Greg. Got two guys up in that first three that haven't won a race yet. So Lamandry Jr. and Colstad going after that first victory.
Good for Bazooka Joe coming out of turn 5 into 6. Just rolled through there and got a gap over Yakov. 5.5 laps to go in this race. SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup. And we have David Colstead leading your champion Tyler Scott. And then Joe Lamandry Jr. on the 62. Kayla Yakov after a podium finish yesterday in 4th. And then Ben Gloddy, a standout in this class, 2nd in points. Dreyer on the 99. Roach, Davis, Max Van.
Oh, Kayla's going around the outside of Joe Lamandry as they roll off down there into turn 12. It's that spot where we saw Colstad have problems yesterday, but right now he's doing a nice job leading this big group. It's almost like Ty Scott wants to just control the race where he's at. Doesn't really want anybody past him. Kayla's going up underneath him.
Whoa,
she goes up
Yakov.
underneath him.
So she just stuffed Ty Scott and takes over 2nd spot. So the 14-year-old Kayla Yakov making moves. I think she wants to try to get ahead of David Colstad and start to check out. Yakov with tons of confidence. At the moment, looking really good. The Barcon Racing Kawasaki Ninja 400 entry, the 31 is what we're looking at.
Let's not forget half a lap. She was 4th place, and now she's looking at possibly taking the lead after they come up over turn 4. She's extremely tight as she goes up there underneath Ty Scott in that turn 15-16 range. Makes that pass nice and clean. Now she's right up the back of Colstead here as they come up over turn 4. This is where she's extremely good and fast. She's going to try to line him up as they get down into Charlotte's Web.
And Jason, I caught up with Kayla this morning. I asked her if she got any rest last night, and she said she tried to, but she was so excited after such a good result. No major changes today. Obviously, the setup worked really well for her. She went out and warm up to see the conditions, feel it out. Saw where she was stronger yesterday. She could see where Scott was strong too, so obviously that's helped her already in this race. She knows she has good pace to stick with this lead pack and try and put it on the podium again. Ultimately, her flat track background's helped her a bit in the rain, but she's learned so much this season from being in our series, and it's really paying off right now.
So Kayla Yakov in 2nd place, trying to hunt down David Colstead and make a pass for the lead. Can she do it? She's deep behind the bubble. Jason, you can see though, Yakov, if there is an area right now where she's struggling a little bit, it's down in that 5-6 area. As she gets to the mid part of that corner, she's not carrying as much roll speed as her competitors. Everywhere else, she looks pretty equal, except of course, coming out of turn 4 into turn 5, she's so fast on the drive.
But yeah, I think all these riders will have that 1 or 2 spots where they're not quite as comfortable as the next, so that's why we see this kind of slinky effect here. But there's a lot of places where she's really, really comfortable. Here being one of them as she comes up the hill. I'm also looking there, Avery Dreyer is doing a nice job. He just moves himself up into top 5 now. Dreyer on the 99 moving forward. Saw him going down the inside of it. A lot of riders are attempting to down into Charlotte's Web, but he makes the pass, does Dreyer. Now he's up behind Gloddy. So Ty Scott looks like he's trying to make a move on Kayla Yakov as they go down into turn number 1. The 70 is going to get past her and back into 2nd place.
So there goes Ty Scott, Dreyer on the 99 and the Bad Boys Racing Ninja 400.
Ben Gloddy trying to go the long way around, and he's going to maybe get himself into 3rd. He does.
So Ben Gloddy all of a sudden feeling it, starting to find his rhythm.
And he gets into 2nd as he goes around the outside of Ty Scott up over the top of turn 4. Look at this, Greg. We're almost 4-5 wide now going down into Charlotte's Web. Ty Scott fought back, gets through on Gloddy. Lamandry Jr. now is up underneath Kayla Yakov. Now she's going to get shuffled back to 5th. Look at this group, Greg. We got 7-8 riders in this lead group right now.
These riders aren't scared. They are passing each other all over the place.
We got the 2 Yamahas at the back right now. Blake Davis and Jack Roach still hanging on to this lead group.
But Veloce Racing's David Colstad continues to lead the way with all the ruckus going on behind him. His eyes are forward at the moment with Scott in 2nd place, Bazooka Joe in 3rd. Sorry, Ben Gloddy in 3rd, Bazooka Joe in 4th, and Kayla Yakov in 5th. 3.5 laps to go Looks like Ty Scott starting to sort himself out. Is it time to make a move?
Oh, he's looking, isn't he, Greg?
Here comes the KTM rider.
Is he going to make it? He is. He's going to lead it here. So Colstad shuffled back to second spot.
Same section of the racetrack where he was really strong yesterday. 3.5 laps to go in SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup race number 2. And Tyler Scott has taken over the lead. Ben Gloddy now in second place. Our early race leader, David Colstead, has been shuffled back to third. Joe Lemandry Jr. right behind. Then Kayla Yakov in the mix. Blake Davis on the 22 ahead of Avery Dreyer. Here's what just happened, left part of your screen.
Yeah, you can see he got a good run and straightened that bike upright as they got down out of that back section into turn number 12. He takes the lead and he rolled it through here really nicely. Actually opened up a little bit of a gap, but look at this. Ben Gloddy in second spot now has closed that gap back up a little bit. We saw this yesterday out of Ty Scott. He kind of controls the race. I started to say it earlier, and then he got passed, but he kind of controls the race, the pace he wants to go, and then he dropped the hammer yesterday with 1 lap to go and did the fastest lap of the race. So see if a little bit of that's happening again. You can see the bike squirming up underneath him. He's still able to get that motorcycle slowed down, though. A little bit further back, Blake Davis on the 22s trying to move forward. Dreyer's falling back just a little bit now with Jack Roach.
I like what I'm seeing from Landers Racing. Ben Gloddy out of New Hampshire. It seems like he's got a much better feel for his Kawasaki Ninja today than yesterday in these conditions. He's looking awfully confident. So now 6 riders breaking free from the rest of the pack with the 22 of Blake Davis on the N2 Racing Yamaha R3 hanging on the back. So these 6 riders trying to sort themselves out.
3 of our first 4 riders that last lap did the fastest lap of the race. That's why we're starting to see a little bit of separation. And you can see Blake Davis just on the back of those in the black leathers now. He's only 1.5 seconds out of the lead. So he's been able to kind of bridge that gap to these guys and drop the other 2 back a little.
He said Ben Gloddy told me he's feeling really good today. Same setup as yesterday because it worked pretty well. He had good grip, and you know, being able to have confidence on the edge of the tire was big for him. He knows that there's some guys out there that are fast in these conditions and that are wanting redemption after crashing yesterday. So he wants to stay calm and focus on finishing the race, but he'd really like to end this season with a win.
Yeah, a little bit of rubbing his racing scenario between David Colstead and Kayla Yakov, as the fastest lap of the race now goes to Joe Lemandry Jr. And Jay, you called it. Things are starting to get faster and faster out there as these riders starting to feel these conditions out more and more. I mean, Tyler Scott trying to control the pace.
Yeah, and I mean, essentially 201s were the quickest lap before that, and all of a sudden Lemandry Jr. throws down a 58.9. Other guys are in all the first 5 were all in the 59s, other than Lemandry, who did a high 58. And you can see there that the guys behind Dreyer and Roach, just 2 flat 0.8 and 201.2 for Jack. That's why we've seen them get separated, and there's a group behind them catching them. So we got 2 pretty big, significant groups, but now look what's happening. There's a group of 4 riders now trying to go off the front. Scott, and then we got Gloddy, Lemandry Jr., and Colstead. They're just starting to pull away from Yakov and Blake Davis.
Into turn number 8 to 9, the museum corner.
Oh, Colstead just goes and he skipped going over the curb, Greg. So that's what he's been doing the whole race long. It actually looked a little faster for him. He was able to roll right around that curb, get himself up underneath Lemandry Jr., and he's kind of coming back at these guys now. As you see, Ben Gloddy is doing what he can, or trying to do what he can, to get by Ty Scott. Look how early they get those bikes upright, as they know that there's like a river running across just out of turn 11 there. They get the bikes upright and through there. And this is where we kind of seen in the past laps, we've seen Ty Scott just pull away. Let's see if Gloddy tries to go up underneath him here, like through the middle of these big long rights.
Time's running out. We come to the line in a couple of corners from now. It's going to be 1 lap to go for Ben Gloddy, trying to get a little season redemption. He was in such a battle all season long with Tyler Scott for the number 1 plate. Scott was able to really put some distance between he and Gloddy in the last couple rounds here in MotoAmerica. White flag flies, final lap. We have 6 riders that are close. Who's going to walk away with this? It's so difficult in these conditions to hold your breath. Oh, and Scott tries to protect the inside line. Gloddy needs to go around the outside. All of a sudden, David Colstead's right there as well. So it looked like a little bit of a mistake from Scott. Now, who's going to have the drive up the hill? It looks like a good one from Scott. Here comes Gloddy. He's behind the bubble. How much risk is taken down into Charlotte's Web? Onto the binders they go. Hard braking. Scott moving around, and oh, Ben Gloddy, he had nowhere to go. But here comes Colstead.
Moves him out of the way a little bit there. Colstead, LeMandry Jr. goes down on the exit of Charlotte's Web. And now you can see Colstad has got himself up into second. Where is he going to try to make this pass? That's the question. You see LeMandry Jr. is up and okay. Colstad is now in a pretty solid second place, Greg.
Looking for his first win. There's been 5 winners this year in SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup. Colstead looking to make it number 6. He's got the 2 championship rivals, 1 in front and 1 back. Does David Colstead have a plan, and can he execute it? Ty Scott with a great drive, putting some distance between himself and the 29.
Yeah, look how good he is into there. This is exactly what he did yesterday. He's so good in this little final section. It's almost like he goes slow there throughout the course of the race, or a little bit off, because look at the gap he just pulled, just right there. Now there's nothing these guys can do. Colstad knows he's racing for second. Gloddy's looking up the inside of him as they go up there into turn number 16. He makes that pass. I bet Colstad's going to fire back down and up underneath him as they go into 17.
Here goes Colstead. No, he doesn't have it, but Ty Scott with a sizable lead onto the front straightaway. Head behind the bubble, and it's going to be Ty Scott who wins another SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup race. Benjamin Gloddy in second, David Colstead in third, and Kayla Yakov ends up 4th place, and the fastest lap of the race, a 55.7.
Just like that, out of the blue. They go almost 4 seconds quicker on the lap.
Including Gus Rodeo, all did their fastest laps of the race on the last lap.
That's a lot of talent out there. What do we? I mean, I know we didn't see some of the back end of the field, and I know Hayden Bickney's I don't believe started. So when I look back, I think the only person I saw tip over was LeMandry Jr. on that last lap. You can see him up in the top part of our screen there on the right-hand side as these riders are going. There he is there.
Yeah, look at Tyler Scott, a 56.1.
Amazing.
That's the second fastest lap. Well, David Colstead also did a 56.1. 56.171 for Scott to a 109 from Colstead. But Kayla Yakov, even though she's off the podium, she'll have the fastest lap of the race. We'll be back to hear from our winner in a moment.
Who wanted it the most? That time it was Tyler Scott, and another victory for him and a strong run for him there at the end. And he even got a little bit loose coming into 5. He had the wobble, still able to shut it down and turn it. And he thought he had a little bit left in the tank yesterday, and it looked like he had it today. But you said it before when we watched Sean Dillon Kelly, you know, when he qualifies so well, but then he goes out there during the race and kind of keeps that pace down. That looked like to be the case of this race, and it looked like 8 people were in this race there towards the end because that pace was kept down.
There was, and then once they lowered the pace to down into the high 50s, they started to break away, broke that pack up. But Tyler's kind of did what he's did all year. He's controlled the races. You know, at the end when he needs to put in some good laps, that's what he does. And he's got a lot of wins this year. He's rode great in all conditions.
11, I think, had 9 coming into this and back-to-back victories. That's pretty darn strong. That is a strong, year. You've got a few by Gloddy. Rodeo has one. Cody Wyman, Max Toth. But doing very much what we've seen Rocco Landers do the past couple of years. Now we're seeing out of Tyler Scott. Starting off the year with a victory, ending the year with a victory. Did about everything you could ask for, though. Big Gloddy in second. You could tell he wanted it really bad today. He was really pressured. Overcooked it going into 5. Colstad was able to take advantage of that. And Colstad traded a little fiberglass with him there at the end. And I thought coming down to that last turn, I thought we were going to see some contact.
Yeah, they both were trying to put each other in that spot. They wanted to be second. They wanted to be the guy right there to be able to make a move on Tyler. But those two guys battling that close, they kind of let Tyler pull away a little bit. And Kayla was coming. She was close to the podium. And also Blake Davis was right there in that pack as well with a really solid 5th place finish.
Dad speaking with him, and a very talented rider as he gets ready to throw that Arai hat. And a very talented rider that does it on not only the asphalt and the road racing, but also on dirt. Very adept dirt track racer that hasn't done that in a while, but still, came back this year to try and win the national championships. And I think it basically came down to a home track advantage. That kid that won the title, that was his local indoor track, and he was used to that facility and dialed in. Or Ty Scott might be a 2-time national champion.
And also for Tyler Scott, he was kind of focusing more on road racing this year.
Sure.
That other kid was doing all flat track, maybe a little bit more prepared when he came in, but Tyler jumped in there, gave him a good run, ended up second, and just shows the talent. Who knows what he's going to do now, if he's going to be a road racer or, that's what's good about being a flat tracker. You kind of have some options.
Yeah, Scott Power Sports KTM, though, I believe that is his 11th win on the season aboard that KTM. He bettered the Kawasaki's. Blake Davis, the top Yamaha today, in 5th. Good run by your boy Blake there. The 22 had a shot. He was up there in that top 5, and glad to see him end on a good note this season.
Yeah, last couple races haven't gone the way he wanted, so for him to finish the year strong is really good for not just him, but his team. All these teams and these supporters of these riders put a lot into it.
Good to see a smile out of Ty as well. He's pretty chill on the course as well as off the course. Ben Gloddy really wanted that one bad, and the Landers racing team gave him the bike and the opportunity to do that. David Colstad, again, we talked about he would be one up there near the front. He was just that. Able to take that 3rd and final spot on the podium. Valachi Racing, Kawasaki. It's still raining, but when they took off, Roger, I didn't know if they were going to get this one done. It was absolutely pouring at the start of that one.
No, it was raining pretty hard.
So another victory for Ty Scott, the KTM. The last time we see him this year is with a win.
Today's Junior Cup race coverage has been sponsored by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Welcome back, Jason. There was some rubbing and racing even in the rain.
Yeah, there was. Colstad's just looking up the track. He knew Gloddy was there, but little love tap in the wet, pouring rain, trying to get his first win was Colstad.
He gave him some room, though. I mean,
he did.
The paint would have been a disaster, but Gloddy had a little bit of room. Let's take a look at those final results for our final SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup race of the season. It's Tyler Scott on a KTM RC 390R over Ben Gloddy and David Colstead. Yakov with the fastest lap of the race, but let's go down to Hannah, who has our race winner.
Greg, this victory is just a cherry on top of an incredible season for the newly crowned STG Junior Cup champion, Tyler Scott. Tyler, you wanted to go out with a win, and you did just that. Tell us how you were able to make your way through the field for this victory.
Yeah, it was definitely difficult at the first part of the race, but I had no pressure today because yesterday I won the champion. But big thanks to KTM, RI Helmets, Bob Robbins, Dale Quarterly, everyone that helped. It was a great race, and the pack was pretty big. I looked back once, and good job to all the guys.
Congratulations to our STG Junior Cup champion, Tyler Scott.
Great job by Scott. And Jay, you got to ride a little different when there's no pressure on. Just a little bit.
Well, it just frees you up a little bit, but I don't think it really mattered. He didn't really show that pressure really bothered him at all this year, so he's very seasoned, tremendous rider, good champion, and he did a nice job this weekend coming here and winning both races again. Won the last 4.
Yeah, he certainly did. Right back down to Hannah with second place.
Second place today goes to Benjamin Gloddy. Ben, take me through that battle for second. You had David Colstead in there, Kayla Yakov, Joe Lemandry Jr.
Yeah, that battle was pretty big at the beginning of the race, and Tyler got to the front, and I got there right behind him, and we kind of started dropping the pace, or he started dropping the pace a little bit. So I tried to make a few moves on him, and he's just really good on the brakes, and I wasn't able to do that. So I just kind of sat there and tried to follow him until about the last lap, but David went by, gave me a little rub, and Tyler pulled a little bit of a gap on that last lap, but I wouldn't have been able to do it with my whole Landers Racing team, Tarl, Jamie, Stoney, everybody over there, Arai Helmets, Freedom Cycle New Hampshire, Penguin Racing School, American Super Camp, Olins, Behringer, everybody that helps me out. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ben. Congrats.
All right, so Ben Gloddy's got a smile on his face, Jason.
Yep.
But as we look ahead, there's a big question mark as to what Tyler Scott's got to do, what Ben Gloddy's going to do. I mean, he's had a great run here in Junior Cup. I would love to see him graduate to Twins, maybe Super Sport.
Yes, yep, absolutely. Kind of a taller kid and did really well this year. So I think that would probably be the next logical step for Ben Gloddy.
Get right back down to Hannah with third place.
Third place today goes to David Colstead. David, we know you were really hoping for a win all season long, especially after how close you were yesterday, but are you feeling a sense of redemption making it back to the podium today?
Yeah, it definitely makes everything feel better, but after yesterday's spill, and I just kind of got my mojo knocked down a little bit, but I was able to get a good start, lead it for a little bit, and then when those guys went by me, they all picked up the pace, so I had to join in, and then last couple laps got a little dicey, but it couldn't have done it without my Arai helmets and Veloce. You know, those guys have done so much for me, the team, keeping the bike 100%. The Arai guy keeping the helmet perfect. I had no fog whatsoever, clear as day. And Yo-Yo Dine, Capit, everyone, Olin Suspension, KFG Motorsports, Cycle Tune, and Two Old Dynaworks, those guys, they did everything they could this year. And maybe next year or so on, we'll try and fight for a win again.
Congratulations, David Colstead, guys.
Oh, yeah, it can't be 2022 soon enough for David Colstead. He knows he is that close to winning a race in MotoAmerica.
Yeah, it's a long off season, so he'll have some time to stew over that. And I know he wanted to win, but he'll be back again, and hopefully he'll get that win next season.
Final standings for the season has Tyler Scott 390 points in the end, and Gus Rodeo was able to hold on to third in the championship. Cody Wyman, who's not here, will finish fifth on the season. So congratulations to all of our SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup competitors. What a season it was. We certainly hope you enjoyed it. What a race from this season till next season. Can't wait to see it. For Hannah Lofa and Jason Pridmore, I'm Greg White. Thanks so much for checking out SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup from Barber Motorsports Park. We'll see you again in 2022.